greatest empire of Romanium. In the beginning, before the world knew of contest and civilization, there was a land of ultimated beauty and wild, warring tribes. Land is also known as Romanium. It was a place of vast rivers, fertile valleys, and towering mountains, where men and gods were said to walk side by side. The early settlers, strong and ambitious, built villages that grew into towns, and dreamed of something becoming stronger, pursuing something greater. Legends say, Chapter 1 is Dawn of Romanium. Legends say of the first king, Romanium, a warrior, unmatched skill and wisdom. It was he who united the sacred tribes under one banner, laying the foundation for an empire that would stand the test of time. Through diplomacy and war, he forged alliances, crushed rival factions, set forth laws that would govern his people. Under his reign, Romanium took its first steps toward greatness. Chapter 2: Rise of the First Emperor. After centuries of kings, consuls, the true turning point came with the rise of Emperor Aurelius Magnus. He was a man of vision, understanding only through absolute power could Romanium expand beyond its borders. He ascended to the mark of the end of the monarchy and beginning of the imperial rule. Aurelius reorganized the military, introduced advanced infrastructure, and declared that every citizen owned their alliance first to the empire. His greatest achievement was the formation of the Great Senate, a body of noblemen, scholars who would advise but never overrule the emperor, which he reforms in place. Romanium was to grow beyond its homeland. Chapter 3: Conquest and Expansion. With the empire stabilized, the legions of Romanium marched forth. The lands to the north were rich in timber and iron, the southern coast abundant of trade in gold. Archelaus led the campaigns of Romanian borders further than any civilization before. His generals, trained in the art of war, through discipline and superior strategy, overwhelmed their enemies. City after city fell to the might of Romanium. Some were conquered by the sword, others through diplomacy and trade. The empire's reputation grew, both as merciless foe and generous ruler. Those who were surrendered granted citizenship. Roads were built to connect far reaches when laws were in peace among the conquered. As Chapter 4: The Golden Age begins. As war slowed, prosperity followed. Trade flourished, bringing exotic goods from the east and west. Romanium's capital, Piraeus, became a beacon of culture, knowledge, and wealth. Grand temples, statues honored the gods, while scholars penned histories and philosophies that would endure for centuries. The emperor declared every citizen, regardless of birth, has the right to education and justice. With a way of innovation, architects built aqueducts to supply fresh water. Engineers developed new methods of construction, and artists filled streets with beauty. This is the golden age of Romanium, where the empire stood unrivaled in the world. Chapter 5. The Legend's Might. The strength of Romanium lay in its regions. Every soldier trained from youth, hardened rigorous discipline, and unbreakable code of loyalty. The legends moved as one. Their formations unyielding, their weapons sharp and deadly. They serve in legions, which is highest honor, for it meant empires ensuring its future. War machines, siege tactics, and strategic fortress made Romanium nearly invincible. Even as enemies plotted its downfall, none could match the sheer force of military might. Chapter 6: The great rivalry. No empire rises without opposition. To the east, Romanium lays a powerful kingdom of Sarmatia, land of fierce warriors, skilled horsemen. For years, tensions simmered between the two powers, each vying for control over lucrative trade routes that connected the known world. The rivalry reached its peak with the Sumerian prince, seeking glory, launched a daring raid into Romanium's eastern provinces. The raid's Emperor Aurelius declared war, sending his legions to the crusty invaders. With what followed, a series of brutal battles tested the limits of Romanium's military and political endurance. Chapter 7: Politics and Betrayal. As Romanium expanded, so too did the ambitions of its leaders. The Grand Senate, one loyal to the emperor, and became a breeding ground for corruption, political intrigue. Senators, they spread dark quarters, plotting alliances and betrayals, shift the balance of power. One senator, Cassius Varro, a man of immense wealth and influence, sought to weaken the emperor's hold. Though bribes and deception, he orchestrated a scandal that shook the empire, accusing one of the emperor's closest generals of treason. Charles followed with the spectacle, dividing the people and threatening the unity of Romania. Chapter 8: The Builders of Civilization. Despite the growing tensions, the Emperor continued to thrive. Main architects and engineers pushed the boundaries of innovation, constructing roads, stretched for miles, bridges that defined nature, and cities that became marvels of the ancient world. Among the greatest achievements, the Forum Maximus, exploring interconnections, law, and culture. Here, from distant lands gathered philosophers debated, and lawmakers drafted the policies that governed the empire. It was a testament to Romanium's ingenuity, shining empire, what humanity could achieve at its peak. Chapter 9: Shadows of Rebellion. Yet, beneath the empire, shining it's brewed. In the other provinces where taxation was high, imperial rule felt distant, rumors, rebellion spread. A charismatic leader known only as Valerian the Red emerged as a voice for the opposite. He rallied farmers, former soldiers, and excited nobles, promising a future free from Romanium's grip. The first sparks of rebellion ignited the province of Gloria, where extinct entire garrison was slaughtered in the night. Ooh. Emperor Furious sent his legions to crush the uprising, but his forces, kind cunning, dense forest, and rugged terrain managed. War for the Empire's soul has begun. Chapter 10. The Emperor's Dilemma. Emperor Aurelius faced its greatest challenge yet. While the rebellion in Illyria grew stronger, threats loomed of the Empire's borders. Smita had not forgotten the previous defeat, and their new king, ruthless and ambitious, saw Romanium's turmoil as opportunity to strike. The Emperor gathered his most trusted advisors, putting whether his forces on crushing the rebellion, preparing for the war in Samaria. His decision would shape the fate of this empire. Romanium stood at a crossroads, and next to a move could mean either preservation of its glory or beginning of its fall. Chapter 11. The storm approaches. As the Emperor weighed his options, spices returned from Samaria with grim news. An army twice the size of any Romanium has faced before mobilizing. War was inevitable. Meanwhile, Valor in the Red continued to win over the hearts of the people. He forces swelling with each passing day. Aurelius had no choice. He divided his legions, sending half to the eastern frontier to face the Samarians, while the other half marched west to the Church of the Rebellion. It was a despite gamble of the fate of Romanium hung by a thread. Chapter 12. The Fall of Imperius. The war raged on two fronts. In the east, the Sumerian hordes, led by King Zarthos, a warrior of legendary ferocity, pushed deep into the Roman territory. Legion after legion crumbled under the relentless onslaught. In Gloria, Valerian, now crowned Emperor of the Free People, railed his forces, threatening to cut off vital supply lines to the front lines. Then came the unthinkable. A traitor within the Great Senate, working in a league with the Sumerian spies, opened the gates of Imperius to the enemy. The city, once a symbol of Roman might, fell into chaos. The streets ran red with blood as the Samaritans slaughtered civilians and looted the treasury. Aurelius, trapped within the palace, witnessed the downfall of his empire. Chapter 13. A New Hope. In the midst of the chaos, a flicker of hope emerged. General Marcus Aurelius, the emperor's nephew, rallied the remaining legions in the west. Brilliant tactician, he devised a daring plan to outmaneuver the Samaritan's army and strike their valuable flanks. He knew the war was far from over. Romanium, though wounded, still possessed the strength to rise again. He vowed to avenge his uncle and reclaim the empire, even if it meant sacrificing everything. Chapter 14. The Siege of Samaria. General Marcus, with his newly formed legions, embarked on a daring counteroffensive. He marched north, bypassing the main Samaritan army and striking their heartland. The campaign was brutal, with losses on both sides. But Marcus, fueled by burning rage and a deep love for his homeland, pushed his forces relentlessly. Finally, after months of grueling warfare, they reached the gates of Zarthos' capital city. The siege that followed was a test of endurance. Samartians, trapped within their walls, fought with desperation, but Marcus's legions, inspired their general's courage, slowly chipped away at the defenses. Chapter 15. The Turning Tide. Just as the Samartians were on the brink of collapse, a message reached Marcus. Valerian the Red, seizing an opportunity, has turned his attention south, threatening to invade the heart of Romania. Marcus was forced to make a difficult decision: continue the siege risk losing everything, or return to defend his homeland. He chose the latter, leaving a small force to maintain the siege. He led his legions south, determined to comfort Valerian. The two armies clashed in a fierce battle that raged for days. The outcome hung in the balance. Chapter 16. A New Dawn. In the end, there was a cunning maneuver by Marcus that turned the tide of the battle. He used a threatened retreat to lure Valerian's forces into a trap, then unleashed a devastating counterattack. Valerian, wounded and outnumbered, was forced to flee. The rebellion crumbled. With the threat from both east and west eliminated, Marcus Aurelius returned to Imperius. The city was in ruins, but the spirit of the Roman people was unbroken. He vowed to rebuild the empire, now was forced to conquest by the beacon of hope and prosperity for all its citizens.